Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for taking time this afternoon to join us for a walkthrough of our newly redesigned equipment return location directory. My name is Debbie Sasko, and I'm the VP of Information Services at IANA. Also joining me today, I have IANA COO, Rob Canizero, our AVP of Technology, Piyush Panchal, and one of our program managers, Stacy Fagan. The goal of today's webinar is to provide you with an overview of the redesigned equipment return location directory. Should you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to use the Zoom Q&A panel to submit them, and then we'll reserve time at the end of the webinar to address any questions received. So IANA's equipment return location directory was originally developed to provide a centralized platform for equipment providers to easily manage their equipment return locations and for motor carriers to have a single access point to obtain that information. What we've done over the past several months is we've had discussions with several equipment providers and also looked at some of the current tools that they utilize to manage their equipment return locations, either via their own website or other platforms that they may be using. And we decided to go back to the drawing board and revamp the equipment return location directory to allow the tool to be more flexible so that it's easier for EPs to maintain and manage their equipment return locations via the tool. The concept behind the new design is basically based on master tables. The master tables would include information related to equipment type and size, regions, originating locations, return locations, and if there are shifts for the various facilities that an EP uses, there's also a master table that can be used for as well. And from these tables, the equipment providers would be able to easily map based on drop-down selections from the information contained in the tables, their equipment return locations that would then be displayed to the motor carriers that would be accessing the information through the ERLD. This can be done via the web interface. We also have the ability to have it done via Excel import-export and an API. There are some other functionalities we've added to the program as well based on feedback we've received from equipment providers, but I'm going to hold up on that and turn it over to Piyush Panchal, who's going to walk you through the actual application itself, and then we'll touch on some of those features and functionalities during that demo. And again, please don't forget, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A panel to submit those during the session. Piyush?
Thank you, David. Let me share my other screen. Okay. So this is the landing page for equipment return location directory, where all the participating equipment provider will be listed on this page. And this is a motor carrier view of equipment return location directory, where motor carrier can download the entire directory of return location for individual equipment provider by accessing these two buttons. They have an ability to download the directory either in PDF format or in Excel format. I'm going to take you to the actual directory of individual equipment provider. For example, we have populated the data for net shipping. And on this page, the return location will be displayed by region. Here at the top of the page, we have given a space where if any message to the motor carrier will be displayed for or nationwide message that the equipment provider would like to display, they can do that. And we have also given equipment providers an ability to format the message by using a WYSIWYG editor. So if motor equipment provider would like to set a link on an email address, or if they would like to provide a hyperlink for their other system, or equipment provider would like to direct motor carrier to any other website, they can do that. We've also given a space to publish region-specific message, here shown under individual region. So motor carrier can publish the nationwide message in the top area, as well as they can publish the specific message for a specific region. The region displayed here can be any. Equipment providers can decide what region they would like to put together. This is just for an example. So by default, when motor carrier loads this individual page, it's going to list down all the region and the location under all the region. but motor carrier can filter down the locations by region by going through these tabs. We have also given ability to search the location by city, by container size, by status, open or close, and by state. To further drill down the search, we have given an ability for motor carrier to search the closed location if they would like to figure out what are the closed location for today, and then what are the alternatives for those locations. In regards to the actual listing, we have grouped these locations by intermodal city. However, equipment provider can decide this view. So the number of fields that are displayed here, not necessary that your company may need to stick with this. Your company can decide what fields you want to display to motor carrier. So here, as an example, we group by the location by intermodal city, container type, loaded or pickup location, equipment return location, and any specific comment for that specific location. Now I'm gonna take you to the back end, how we put together this directory for motor carrier. This is an equipment provider view. And in order to maintain equipment return location directory, you don't need to register for a specific application. We have given a dedicated section within UI application for ERLD. And this is a quick dashboard where equipment provider can look at how many locations are open, how many locations are closed within each region that are defined by equipment provider. So after that, I'm going to take you to the master table that Debbie talked about at the beginning of this webinar, where we divided the entire data sets into 5 different master tables. The manage equipment info table will hold information regarding the container size and the description. You have an ability to put it's a free form field. So you may want to put the size, or you can say damage 20 dB container or something like that. So depending on the terminology your company currently use, it's a free form field, so you can put it out there. And system will hold the information into the master table. Another master table we have created is to define the region. So your company may call it East Coast, something else. Then you can define your own region by clicking on this button. You add a new region. I'm going to add test region. And it will be added to this tab. And in order to add states to a given region, all you need to do is select the tab and click on the add new state, add state, and then hit save. And that's going to add, the state will be added to the region. Another master table is to hold origin location where the equipment is originated, or a pickup location. This field is also a free form field, and the other 4 fields, state, city, and physical address, are optional. You may want to add those fields or not. That's not a problem. Here is the important table, return location. So this table holds the data about the potential return location, where user will be required to provide all the fields. This is again a free form field, but you need to select the country and the state and intermodal city associated with this location, and physical address. Physical address is also a free form field. So if you would like to provide timings for a given location, you can put it like this, or provide the information about the physical address you can using this field. And the last master table will hold the information about the shifts. Some of the region works on based on specific shifts. So we have added another master table in order to hold the shift, and then you can specify the open and close time for the given shift. So you have an ability to provide the shift as well. Now, all those data and the master table that we just saw can be managed using the web interface, as well as we have given an ability to maintain this data via Excel upload. So there is a ability for you to export the data into Excel file by clicking on the export button, and then modify your information, put it into, drag into these import function, and the system will recognize the changes and update the system accordingly. So those who do not like to maintain the information via interface, they can do the bulk changes by importing the Excel file. Now this screen, Manage ERLD Location, will give you an ability to publish a potential return location for motor carrier. And on this screen, the information about the originating location will be populated from the master table that we just saw for originating location. So all these data coming out from the master table do multiple combination, like for example, APM mobile location where you have a multiple equipment size that you accept. You can publish that by selecting the equipment size and the associated return location, and any additional node for that return location. A shift column is optional, so you can leave it blank. And when you're opening a new location, you need to specify the open effective date and time. The close effective date and time is optional. There are certain business rules associated with ERLD location mapping, or when you are especially adding or removing a location. There are specific UIIA rules where we do check whether the change is compliant with UIIA section E1B when you are especially updating a location. So if you are updating an existing location from so-and-so date to so-and-so open or close date time, or if you are updating instructions note on a given location, system will check against the ERLD business rules, especially UI even B, whether it's compliant or not. System will take the update in the system. It will not preclude you to make the changes, but it will still give you a warning message whether the change is compliant with even B or even C. The header message that we saw on the motor carrier page, here is where you can specify the message using the Wysiwyg editor. So this section gives you an ability to specify message for all the motor carriers irrespective of the region. And the section below, by clicking on this, it will allow you to publish the message for a specific region. So you select the region and write down the message that you would like to, format it using the tools provided, and then hit save, and it's gonna publish the message right away on the motor carrier page. And the notification settings tab, where your company can elect to receive notification based on the changes. So any changes to the location, your company users may wanna know. So they can specify the email address and choose the region. For example, I would like to know if any location changes in the North Atlantic. I would select North Atlantic and then I put my email address and hit save. And whenever there is a change to any location in the North Atlantic region, I would get a message via email that there is a upcoming change on so-and-so location. We have also created a notification configuration screen for motor carriers. We provided motor carrier an ability to receive notification by region, by equipment provider. So here is their view of equipment provider selection for the ERLD notification. So motor carrier can choose the number of region, and then in the email box, we have given an ability for motor carrier to put more than one email address using comma separated value.
Piyush, can you go back and show that screen right there? So that's the equipment provider screen where they can see notifications that were sent to motor carriers based on changes they may have made to the equipment return location directory. And on the motor carrier side, what we plan to do is default all motor carriers based on the region, the state that they're domiciled in. We'll set that as one of their default locations, and then they will have the ability then to go in, as Piyush showed you on that screen, and select various other regions for the equipment providers that they do business with, so that they can customize what notifications they receive, because they may not do business in all regions, or they may not do business with all equipment providers. So our system, as changes are received from equipment providers, our system will be processing them based on the time zone and the state, and then send out the appropriate notifications as it relates to changes made to existing locations or additions or deletions to an equipment provider's list of equipment return locations. I think that's it. Rob, anything you want to add?
Yeah, the only thing I would add, just a few points. The first is intermodal city. I know Piyush mentioned that. That's a self-designation, and it's just meant to streamline the actual city versus what we in the industry come to refer to it as. Think about New York. We call it New York, but it could be Bayonne, Elizabeth, Newark. All those specific cities are in the intermodal city of New York, right? Chicago is another one. You could be in Elwood, Joliet, Forest View, but we call that Chicago. So you could designate what the intermodal city is based upon your own terms and familiarity, right? The other thing, and I saw this in the Q&A, so I'll take it on now. The question from Christopher Solaris is, will the data be held for historical purposes? Absolutely. That's one of the benefits of this system, is that the UIIA, IANA will now store this data in case there's any questions or a particular issue comes up through the dispute resolution process. We will then have clear historical data on when facilities were open, when they were closed, and we'll be able to share that with both parties engaged in a particular issue, the equipment provider and the motor carrier. That information will be stored for an unlimited time frame, but it will be available to the users to query for 150 days. And that was based on the maximum length of time in the UIIA for a dispute is 120 days between all the various things that might happen. And we extended that by an additional 30 days in case people were involved in preparing for a dispute resolution case. They would still be able to access that data. A particular point of interest is that the motor carrier, in order to carry historical data, cannot do that for the entirety of your facility directory. They would only be able to do that city by city, so that there's limited days for actions to be taken that aren't germane to a particular issue, right? Folks just grasping at various issues. So it's single location specific. Just want to make sure that's clear.
And then also I think Piyush mentioned the upfront work is the equipment, is the master tables, the creation of the master tables, and staff would be available to help with that, setting up your initial setup of the master tables that are needed for you to create your equipment return location information. So anyone that's interested in that, we will certainly be there to help you set that up. And you can import it and export it via Excel files as well. Okay. Well, what we wanted to do is be able to show you the enhancements that we've made to the program. I think we have taken into consideration all the feedback that we've gotten from equipment providers based on our discussion. And like I said, being able to look at the tools you currently used helped us a lot in regards to what types of changes we needed to make to the tool in order to make it more manageable and flexible for equipment providers to use. So certainly if you're interested in learning more about the ERLD on a one-to-one basis, we will certainly be happy to set up a call with your team, your IT team and our IT team, so that we can fill you in on any other questions you may have. We can also give you test credentials. We have a test environment that if you would like to go in and look at it in more detail, we can provide you with test credentials to do that. And then lastly, as I mentioned, if you are interested in moving forward with using the ERLD, please reach out to me directly for any of these items, and we'll certainly be able to set you up and start the initial setup for those that are interested in moving forward. With that, that concludes the webinar for today. We thank you for taking your time this afternoon. We hope that you believe the enhancements that we made have made the tool more easier for EPs to manage their return locations, and we encourage you to take advantage of it. So have a good afternoon, and anyone interested in looking at the tool further, please feel free to reach out to me via email. My email address is on the slide shown, and we'll get you set up for a call or else get you credentials to take a look at the system. Thank you.